Woof.
Okay, so there's a lot. We're going to have something to drink. This is our third DevBlog of the night, released on Thursday, April 13th, about new ships in Closed Test 12.4. Let's see what we got here. Branch of Spanish cruisers has been added to the game for testing. Oh joy, I can't wait to see what kind of funny buttons those things have. As well as Dutch cruiser Van Spejik. I think the southern Dutch pronunciation is Van Spejik, so we'll go with that. The German cruiser Schill, that's an appropriate name. And the Pan-Asian destroyer Lüshun. Okay. Let's see what this is about. For the upcoming closed testing session, a branch of Spanish cruisers will be added to the game. Ships of this branch rely on main battery guns with good firing range. They are also armed with torpedoes, which have short range. The ships have good concealment, but mediocre maneuverability. So far what I'm seeing is they're not going to be anything like the Canarias, I don't think. Although the Canarias, I think, does have a speed boost. It's not that great of a ship. So we'll see how much they're alike. Starting from Tier 7, the ships gain access to the Burst Fire Alternative Firing Mode. Well, there's your funny button I was worried about. Which additionally increases the AP shell penetration and damage. Main battery guns have flat ballistics but low damage per minute. The ships also have high speed. So this not only increases gives you a burst fire, but it increases the pin on your AP shells by pressing the funny button. So my question would be, did the captain of the Bismarck, when they fired the salvo, before they fired the salvo at the hood that sunk it, did he press a funny button that increased his AP pin? I don't think so. I think it was just a lucky shot. So whatever happened to aiming, and I don't know. I don't really, I'm not a huge fan of all this funny button stuff, and I'm just not. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it's as friendly to newer players. I really don't like the funny button increasing your AP shell pin. Why don't we just, if it's HE, why don't we just say, press the funny button and now your fire chance is 100% on your next 3 salvos? I mean, I don't know. Where are we going from here? Because it's eternal escalation. But as I think I've heard somebody else say, they'll sell this and then they'll sell the solution for it. That's how they make money. The new ships have a good choice of consumables. So you got hydroacoustic starting at Tier 4, and the option to equip defensive AA in the same slot starting at Tier 6. You have a repair party and fighter or spotter starting in one slot, starting from Tier 7. Am I reading that right? In one slot. So does that mean one slot you can have repair or fighter or spotting? I read this repair party, period. You also have fighter or spotting in one slot. So the way I'm reading this, you have one slot for repair party and one that's either a fighter or a spotter, which would make sense. So that's starting at Tier 7. That's a little bit earlier than a lot of the ship lines start on their cruisers. A lot of times you don't see your hill till Tier 8 or maybe even Tier 9, RE, the American cruisers. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail of these, because if they're going through all Tier 10 of these, holy crap. I do kind of like the Spanish flag on the side of the boat, the front, the back, and on the side of the turret. That's a nice touch. That's really cool. Tier 1 Jupiter. Well, okay, that's great. It's Tier 1. This is apparently a mine layer that's also served as a gunboat that apparently had some history. I'll let anybody else read about this. I'll put this on YouTube, and I'll put a link to the dev blogs in the YouTube video so you can go and read it for yourself. But yeah, they do need to proofread a bunch. Here's Tier 2, Mendez Nunez. And again, if you think it sounds like I'm mispronouncing some of these Spanish names, I remind you again that I use only the Southern pronunciation. So it is the correct Southern pronunciation. So what about this ship? Based on the British C class, okay? So this apparently looked to be a real ship. Yep. So this was a real ship. Again, I'll let everybody else read about the details. Spanish cruiser Navarra, Tier 3. Interesting. Kind of a thick one. A lot of sideboard on these things. Whew. Named after the wife of the reigning king of Spain at the time, Victoria Eugenie of Battenberg. So this was based on the British cruiser Birmingham. Took part in the Rif War. So this is a real ship. Got renamed to Republica and then got renamed to Navarra. So okay. The Tier 4 Almirante Cervera. Now we're getting up some single and double turrets. Again, while I don't think the ships are beautiful, you know, like I said, I do. It's just the Spanish flag on the side is just interesting to me. I'm not sure what the purpose is of these little spikes painted on the side of the ship here. I don't know if that's supposed to be part of a camo. It's like they're putting a little spike off the waterline. That's an interesting thing. So British company was helping them do this based on British E-class cruisers. Okay. So this was apparently a real ship. So it participated in the Battle of Cape Palos. So good. We've got real ships so far, but we haven't gotten to higher tiers yet. Now we're getting double barrels on everything. We're up to the Tier 5 Galicia. It was renamed. So it started off as Príncipe Alfonso, renamed Libertad. And there was a civil war. So apparently a lot of these ships went on one side or another during the Civil War between the Republic and whatever the other side is. So eventually it fell into the hands of the Francoist government. It received the name Galicia. Okay, great. It is actually kind of a nice looking ship. I agree, Bogey One. It is pretty nice looking. Kind of fairly sleek. No wonky superstructure and all. A little bit. I'd love it if it had just a tiny bit less schnoz on it, but that's okay. Let's see. Now Tier 6. Spanish cruiser Belarus. So let's compare that. Look. Very similar. Now this one doesn't have the little upticks at the waterline, whatever those were. Did others have that? Yeah, some of the others have that. The Tier 4 and the Tier 5 had that. This one doesn't have it. So, Spain ordered 2 modern Washington Treaty cruisers. Okay. This is based on the County class cruisers. The cruisers were named Canarias, and Belarus. Okay. So the nationalists seized the shipyard. Belarus participated in an attack. Cruiser was sunk by Republican destroyers at the Battle of Cape Palos. So this one was sunk, it looks like. So this is going to be similar to the Canarias, I guess. We'll see. We will see. Now we're up to Tier 7. Spanish cruiser Asturias. Holy cow, look at the schnoz on that thing. It's like they took a regular boat, and this boat literally looks like it was a normal boat, and then somebody just put their hand on the front of the guns and the superstructure and just pushed it all back. halfway halfway back the ship. So it's like, let's just put all the shit in the back half of the ship. What the heck? I don't like that at all. It just looks weird. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of boat in front of the guns. Holy cow. So what happened after the Spanish Civil War? Blah, blah, blah. The Italian company and Saldo developed 3 projects for a heavy cruiser for Spain. One of the options, okay, so now we're getting into the paper ship thing. One of the options included an armament composed of 4 twin 203mm gun mounts. So this is one of the paper designs. I mean, I don't dislike how all this looked, but if you cut the ship off about right here, you know, or spread this out a little bit more, it would look normal, but this just looks weird. Let's hope that's a weird trick of photography. All right, let's go up to Tier 8. Spanish cruiser Cataluna. Wowzer. After the victory of the Nationalists in the Civil War, Spain and fascist Italy grew stronger. Yeah, we know they had an insignificant number, or insufficient number of modern ships. Spain planned to familiarize itself with the latest achievements in Italian ship in order to strengthen ships. So this is going to be an Italian-based ship. Man, this is another one of these where this looks almost identical to the last one. I mean, looking to see if they copied this. I mean, it looks like the superstructure is a little bit different, but this is very I mean, this is like copy paste and make a few little changes so it doesn't look exactly the same as what it kind of looks like. So again, Italian company developed 3 projects, and this one included an armament close of 3 triple 203mm guns. So on the Tier 7, we go from 203s with 4 turrets of 2 to, I guess, 3 turrets of 3. Yeah, 3 turrets of 3. So we're going from 8 to 9 guns now. That's really the main difference in these ships. Let's see what happens when we go to Tier 9. So in parallel with the work on the construction and repair of the ships for fleet, in 38 5 destroyer projects, several cruiser projects planned out. The largest was Project 138, a cruiser with a speed of 36 knots. Okay, with different options for the main battery. The option of building a cruiser with the turrets from the battleship España was considered. The most common variant is the 3 triple guns with guns ranging in caliber from 203 to 254. So does that mean that we're getting 3 triple turrets with 203, or are we going up to 254s now at Tier 9? Because we went from 8 203s to 9 203s, and now are we going to have 9 203s or 254s, or is it going to be something where you start out with 204s, but then you have a researchable 254? I don't know. It's Tier 9, so it could very well be an upgrade. Tier 9 is notoriously expensive and upgrade heavy, so I'm wondering about that. And then lastly, that one, at least they cut down the schnoz on this one. That looks a lot better. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is literally half the damn ship, and there's nothing on it. This looks much better. Much better. Nice and fairly sleek. I dig it. And then lastly, Spanish cruiser Castilla. Tier 10. What do we got on Castilla? Let's see what they're saying. The knowledge gain could well result. So now it's could well result in A project created on the basis of a synthesis. Oh man, now we're getting, could result in a synthesis, oh man, of Italian and Spanish naval thought. Projects of Ansaldo cruisers and a project of the Super Washington cruiser from the Farrell shipyard. Oh, we got ship stats. Really, I'm not even going to go over the ship naming reasons at all. It's just too much minutia. If you want that minutia, you can call this up and look, but we'll take a quick blow through some of the stats. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, not a big deal. You know, let's get up closer to Tier 4 and 5. Just get a damage con. So Tier 4, you've got 3x2 and 2x1. So that's, you got 8 guns, 14 kilometers. You have HE and AP. Fire chance isn't that good. These are 152s. 18-second turn times. Yeah. You've got torps. 6 kilometer. So yes, kind of like German torps. Some secondary. You get damage control, hydroacoustic. All right, Tier 5. Now's where we're getting places. So we got 8 152s with 15 kilometer range at Tier 5. We've got 11-second reload time. Ouch. What else do we have? Damage control, hydroacoustic. Nothing to write home about. Tier 6. 35,000 health. Now you've got 8 203s, but a shorter range, right? Or you had 15. Now you're down to 14.2, I guess, because of the bigger shells. 855 velocity. That's fairly flat shell arc for a 203. That's pretty darn good. Where's the 13-second reload? That's not horrible. Not horrible for Tier 6 and 203s. What else we got? Still damage control, and here we can have hydroacoustic or defensive. Tier 7, let's see now. We get up to 8. Now this says 8 203s again. I thought we went from, maybe we got to 203s sooner than I realized. So this is 203s. 15.7 range. You got your burst. So your burst, so you only get 2 shots with a 1.2 second reload, and you got to wait 45 seconds at that point. Man, use that only when you have to. Wow. What's your reload? 12 seconds? Turret traverse is 25.7. Not great. 900 meters per second. That is some flat shells. Okay. Now your torps, 2x4. We're up to 8 kilometers now, though. Okay, these hit pretty hard. 8 kilometers, so okay. Secondaries, now you get into the damage control, repair party, hydro defensive AA, and fighter or spotter. Nice. Now we're up to Tier 8. We've got 203s, 40,000 health, 16.5 range. I mean, that's not like best in the world. It's okay. It's decent. 11-second reload. Again, you got 40-second reload in this 1.2 second 2-shot burst. Yeah, I don't know. Similar torps, 8 kilometers. Same kind of consumables. So not a whole lot of difference in this ship and this one. Now we're up to Tier 9, the Lucia. 48,000 health. So now you've got, okay, so this has 234s. At 9, we go to the 234s. 17 kilometer range. That's okay. 14-second reload. 35-second burst interval. Almost getting down to where it's getting close to worth it. That's not too bad. 2 of your shots out now, and if you know, that's not too far off. 28 seconds for 2 shots versus 35 seconds for It's getting a little more usable. Let's put it that way. 20% bonus to damage. And does this say 100% penetration capacity bonus? Holy frickamoly. Okay. What kind of torpedoes? The same things. 8-kilometer hard hitters. And tier 10, 51,000. You get 254s here. 17-kilometer range. 16% fire chance. 30-second burst on a 30-second reload. That's, again, for attempting to finish ships off, that can be worth it. That can definitely be. Because that's 26 seconds. Yeah. And there you go. That's your line. Let's go down to the next ships now, because this is so much information. It's unbelievable. German cruiser Schill. So they're shilling the Schill. This is great to know. In the late 1930s, the leadership of Germany developed a project for naval blockade of Great Britain using its raiding forces. Oh, wait a minute. That's why this looks kind of like, okay, it's a pocket battleship. Wow. Wow, wow. Okay. So they wanted 12 P-class ships based on the Deutschland pocket battleships. So this thing has 6 283s, good accuracy, flat ballistics, low damage per minute, good AP, great HE, pin but crappy damage, good HP pool and armor, well protected citadel but bad concealment. So yeah, this is a development or a further development. What's the tier 6 ship? I can't recall, but basically we all know what we're talking about here. It's the same thing at a higher tier. 17-kilometer range. Yeah, great AP. 30-second reload though on 6 guns. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing. Jeez. 6-kilometer torps. Those aren't as good as the tier 6 that we already have. That's interesting. What else do we have? Secondary, a little bit of secondaries. And what do you get? Damage control, hydro, defensive AA, and a fighter. Not overly useful. Okay, I'm not worried about the ship naming reason, but that's your stats for the Schill. Next is the Dutch tier 9 cruiser, then Speijk. Tier 9. Interesting. So Dutch ministry decided to strengthen their fleet in 1938. So they were trying to be similar to the Scharnhorst, but they decided to reduce the ship to a 16,000-ton cruiser with a 33-knot speed. Main battery caliber of 240 or 280. But in order to provide sufficient armor, it had to be reduced to 203. And so, if it had been delayed further, it could have had better aim. So, this thing's armed with 9 203s, good damage, and an airstrike. Well-protected citadel, good concealment. Guns have a short firing range, and the airstrike has a long cooldown, low number of charges. Wow. Okay. Detailed stats of the ships will be shared at a later date. So there you go. Your 9 van Speijk. Okay. And lastly, Pan-Asian. Another Pan-Asian destroyer. Lüshun. That is definitely Russian-looking guns right there, for sure. Only 2? 4 guns? Looks nice. Is this Is this going to be kind of like the new Strashimi? Maybe? Or one of the other ships? Let's see. Yep, the Soviets transferred to China. Project 41 destroyer was handed over to China. In its original form, it was not built in China. Got missile destroyers, which were based on the Project 41. But the Lüshun is armed with 430 millimeter main battery guns, flat ballistics, 10 torpedo tubes with regular torpedoes. This sounds a lot like the new Strashimi, and but relatively short range. What is relatively short range? What does that mean? They're going to tell us in the stats. The ship can effectively make use of her torpedoes thanks to her TRB and good concealment. She deals low damage per minute due to low number of guns and no engine boost. Okay. Let's see what the stats look like on this thing. 20,000 hit points at tier 10, or 20,500. 4 130s with a reload of 4 seconds. 12.8 kilometer range. That's pretty good. What else have you got? 2x5 torps, 17.9 damage. Range 10 kilometers. This is a lot like a new Strashimi. Is what this is. This is a whole lot like a new Strashimi. And what else do we have here? We have damage control, smoke generator, hydro, and torp reload booster. So it doesn't have the heal. A lot like new Strashimi, but it doesn't get the heal. So what was our concealment on this thing? I missed that. Here we go. Surface detectability 7.2. So get down to 6.559. 5.8, 5.9, something like that. That may not be quite as good as the new Strashimi, but still, again, very similar to the new Strashimi. So, let's recap. You got tier 10, Pan-Asian, Lüshun, DD. Looks pretty decent. Seems very similar to the new Strashimi. Not sure what I think about that one. It probably will be okay. Tier 9, Dutch cruiser Van Speijk. Really, I don't even really have that much of opinion on this one. I don't particularly love the Dutch ships. They're okay, but just not quite my play style. But we'll see the stats later on when it comes out. Then we have the German Tier 8 cruiser, the Schill. This will be interesting, but man, you are going to 30-second reload on 6 guns. You realize there's a lot of battleships, full-on battleships like Georgia, that have 18-inch guns, or darn near 18-inch guns, that have 6 guns that have a faster fire rate than these 283s. So, yeah, that's definitely disappointing. What else? And then lastly, all of these Spanish cruisers, well, the jury is out on the Spanish cruisers for the Tater. Again, like I said, I do think that the Spanish flag on the hulls at the front and back and the turrets kind of cool in some ways. I'm not saying it's gorgeous or anything. I'm just saying it's different. It's interesting. But for the most part, I mean, we're adding another ship with another funny button on it that increases your penetration value significantly, it looks like, when you press it. Oh, boy. I don't know what I feel like. And also, this Tier 8 and this Tier 7, I think we may have a new World of Warships record for Schnozz on these things, because holy crap, all of the ship got pushed. Yeah, everything on the deck got pushed into the back of the ship. It's crazy. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I imagine what's going to happen is the Spanish cruisers will be okay. They won't be great and they won't be bad. I'm basing that kind of on the Canarius. You know, Canarius is kind of, it's okay. In the right game, in the right time and place, you can do okay with it. Other times, not so much. So that's going to be it for that one. Gee whiz. Still more dev blogs to go. We got a lot of crap to talk. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.